All right. Good morning, people. It is Saturday. Make sure I get it right. February 16th, 2009. Um, it's funny because I had to actually 2009, 2019. Wow. See, I told you. Keeping track of time has become problematic, and I like to say that it's because I'm old, but no. I mean, it's a lot of people having problems keeping track of time. Even this man last night, he needed some money, um, and he came in. He was upset with me. Oh, he was so upset because I hadn't paid him yet, and I was upset too because I hadn't paid him yet because I, wanted to pay him. And my father and I were having a conversation, and I was saying, you know, I know that you've been working with me, and I know you've been telling me certain things and explaining to me the process and stuff, and I get all that and stuff, but I've been questioning myself a lot lately, and I don't like that. I don't like questioning what you've taught me because then that means I'm either accusing you of having lied to me or I've been lying to myself and I'm not getting information right. And I told you straight up that I had a problem speaking for you because I don't want to misrepresent you. I do not want to do anything that goes against you. And he understood. He was explaining it to me. I mean, like I said, when I dream, he's very clear as to what he needs to say, and he does a mixture of things. I mean, dream imagery, things that I can relate to in my own life experience, as I recall it, things that I've read or studied. And at the same time, sometimes he will just use plain words. I mean, he mixes it up, and he does that for a reason. Even when it comes down to like the songs he will play that I'll hear in my mind's eye because I hear the music and I remember the song. And sometimes I have to Google the lyrics because I'm like, there's a lyric there that I know I'm supposed to be paying particular attention to. And so I'll Google the lyrics and stuff. And and he'll give me various versions and stuff. And sometimes he'll tell me, look at this version as opposed to one that I might know because that's just how he is. I mean, he's teaching me. And he's teaching me for the purpose of, helping others. Because at the same time, like I said, I didn't come here for everybody. I came for those who are mine. Those who subscribe to the teachings of Christ and not in name only. Because, see, a lot of people say that they are doing God's work, but that's in name only. They're not actually talking to God. They're talking to somebody who is misrepresenting themselves as God or an agent to speak for God. And they're getting now third and fourth hand information. Christ taught direct from the Father to his disciples. I speak directly to my Father, and then I pass the information on as he wants me to. So, this morning, I'm dreaming. And he brought up a couple of different things. He brought up a friend of mine who was going through some stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I know that this man is looking for money today, but we ain't going to worry about that because you already said that's taken care of. And I know it is. But there's something else that needs to be addressed. And so we're looking at everything that's going on in the world. The mudslides, the fires, mass shooting in Aurora just recently. One of my housemates, she's from Illinois, out of Chi-Town, so it's not far from Aurora. She had not heard about it. I was explaining to her what went down. And it was like, she's got family back there. That's a concern. And, but the thing is, you have to understand something, people. Just because I tell you something does not mean that I have wished for that to happen to you or willed for it to happen to you. I'm just telling you what is being imparted to me. And when I told you I brought this shit through, it's because I did. in the sense that my Father created it. It did not exist before now. People have been telling you about stuff that was on the books from before. They don't know anything about what's on the books now because they haven't tapped into it yet. In fact, they refuse to. They only want to see the good stuff and stuff that they can use for a marketing tool. This is not a marketing tool. You do not want to try and profit off of this information that I keep telling you about because it is not anything that you're supposed to trade upon. You asked, and it's being answered, to ascend. To ascend is a process. It comes from many lifetimes having lived and learning the truth of nature, of who you are in relation to the Most High. It has nothing to do with anybody else other than you have to play off of them. And you might not like what you have to play off of. It might invoke strong emotions in you of anger and sorrow and compassion and more. But you cannot flee from these emotions because it is a part of you. You cannot suppress it, and you cannot sit there and say that you did away with your ego, because your ego has to process that stuff, whether you understand it or not. Because your ego is still a part of you. If you don't have an ego, then you have no identity, and therefore you are not speaking. Your soul does not speak. Your soul encases you all, everything that is you. It houses everything. So a lot of your arguments are nonsensical as you call yourself leading this New Age charge or movement. Now, I don't know how you came up to your conclusions. Maybe somebody in spirit told you that. And if that's the case, I told you should have tested those spirits, because I told you there are a lot of spirits out there that are just plain stupid. They don't know shit. See, that's what God is doing with you. He'll just ignore your call. I told you he interjects. I said, I don't recognize that number. It's not anybody I need to talk to until they identify themselves. See, in this day and age, everybody and their mom wants to call you. And then you have to shift through minutia, spam callers and more. I'm calling from the IRS, and unless you send me some money, I'm like, come on now. Just because I have a phone doesn't mean that you get to dial my number and think I'm going to pick up. You need to understand that. Same thing with God. You said you wanted to ascend. He's put in place what you need to ascend. Now, as you're sitting there contemplating your navel, contemplate this. You cannot ascend saying that you are of love and light in self-assessment and nobody else has seen the same. Because if they don't see it, what makes you think that what you say is unconditional loving of you is seeing anything different? Because you have to understand something, people. Just like you call yourself praying for somebody, they're praying for you too. You did not have a meeting of the minds. What you did was tuck your tail and ran. That's what all that cord cutting was all about, as Doreen prompted y'all to do. And she did it because she was advised that she could do it by what she said was an angel, what she later said was a demon. And you said, why did she flip? Maybe because she finally realized way too late what she had a hand in. And now, just because you don't sell the product doesn't mean the product is not out there. Because once you put your shit out there, your shit is out there. It's not going to be magically erased. It's there. See, you have a lot of people out there who call themselves New Age teachers saying you can read scripts from shit. Sandra Ann Taylor teaches that shit. I never studied with her. I listened to her radio show. So you don't have to study with somebody to know what they're all about, because they'll tell you. People's favorite subject is themselves. Because the thing is, the only way they can get a point across to you is to share in and of themselves what they went through in order to reach that conclusion. You either identify with it or you don't. That's why you have problems with your kids. Because your kids will sit there and tell you you don't know anything. And you said, no, I've been there. And then you have to let them fall and scrape their knee and come to you saying you were right. And so I tried to tell you. So that next time you give some advice, maybe, just maybe, they might listen to you before it's too late. See, the seeds you plant are the seeds that will ultimately grow. The ones that you actually are giving nutrient to and you're watering in more. Now, most kids, when I say most kids, I mean a lot of kids. I mean who are growing up in loving homes and stuff, who have parents who are attentive and are trying to really instill values in their child's lives, or trying to explain to them in the best way they know how. And a lot of times it involves their own process of growing up. Now, some kids are wiser beyond their years, and they actually do understand that you are not being fair in the way that you are treating them. But they don't have the skill set yet to articulate that. But they grow into be something better than you only because they have been here before. And they do understand. And they may be working with you on that level too. See, that's why parents do pay close attention to their kids. And they will say that they have gotten that much more from their kids than their kids have ever gotten from them. That was a process. And it was in place. Is it still in place? Yeah, to a degree. But to what degree? See, that's what you have to start to figure out. Because, see, Earth as a school has many classes. And many of you say you want to ascend, while others are content to just be here and be straight up assholes. You have to understand something, people. God is a God of creation, and all this shit has got to work. We're talking about chaos amongst chaos amongst chaos. Your lives are already chaotic enough. Now they're even more so. And it's because you asked for it. Now you're sitting there saying, I didn't ask for that. Yes, you did. You invited spirit in. Your guides, your angels, other people's guides, other people's angels, you wanted to work with it all. And now you're working with it. And it's chaotic. There is no order to it. What you once said had order. Oh, it has order with God, but you're not God. It makes no sense to you. That's why you're hiding out in your own little camps. That's why you're trying to stay at home and out of people's business, but at the same time, it keeps coming knocking at your door. There's no safe place for you, not even in your churches, because it's going to come knocking at your door. You know, a lot of people trying to do this shit online now. You know, and they think, oh, I'll just block the comments, or I'll block this person, they can't find me. I guess you don't watch the news about people who are hackers, or you're not worried about the fact that iPhone will suddenly stream you talking, even before you click answer. Oh, they said they fixed that bug. There's always something to be exploited, don't you think? Especially in this day and age where people were more technically savvy than you. I have friends who work in IT. They're always trying to figure some shit out. Why shit is not working the way it's supposed to. And I'm not technically savvy, but I know when shit ain't working the way it's supposed to. And I know Facebook will sit there and tell you that something does not meet the appropriate content, but they won't tell you what it is that didn't meet with the content, because I asked them straight up, what did not subscribe to your standards? So that I can self-correct if that's the case. But they wouldn't tell me. In fact, they never responded to my request for the information. Now, do you think that's a fair platform to work from? Where somebody can sit there and just say that you bullied them and they won't tell you what it was that you said that was so troublesome in this day and age when everybody and their mama is feeling bullied for whatever reason? Even the First Lady of the United States? Come on now. She said that on 60 Minutes. I'm being bullied all the time. And her platform is about bullying. I'm still waiting to hear all what she's doing to address the bullying situation because her husband is bully in chief. She can't get him under control. How's she gonna address a nation about bullying when she lives with the biggest bully that there is? And she's insensitive to a lot of things. And just because you pointed out to her, she said, "Oh, now you're bullying me because you're not letting me be me." Anytime somebody has an issue with you because you won't let them be themselves, and then at the same time, when you just want to be yourself and they say you got a problem, then you really do have a problem. You do realize that, don't you? There is no work that can be done there because you have both decided that neither one of you is right. But yet you're ready to ascend. Where you going to go with that attitude? You think you just put the shit on for a minute and then you transition and then all of a sudden that shit is wiped away because somebody told you that? You're going to do this life review? Oh, please. That's over with. You're going to do your life review right here with each other. Doreen told you that. She told you the truth. She just don't see how it applies to her. That's what happens when you're a student. You never ask the right questions. And you never do that self-assessment first. I told my father all the time, with everything he was showing me, I said, I've done that, or I've done something similar to that. He said, yeah, but you recognize it too. Are you still trying to do that? No, because it's wrong. What's the question, people? How are you going to point out somebody else's faults when you can't point out your own? Just because you've reached the conclusion that you like calling your dog and your cats a member of your family, don't mean that other people have to do that same thing. Should they abuse your animals? No. Should they be abused by your animals? No. That's called peacefully coexistence. And just like you said, well, they don't like everybody. That's true. Dogs and cats don't like everybody. They like who they like. And they like them for various reasons. There are cats that like me, and I like them. And there are dogs that like me, and I like them. There are others that will growl at me, or hiss at me, or run from me. What am I supposed to do? I'm not going to chase after them and say, you have to love me because I love you. No, I'll leave them alone. Don't you understand that when something does not want to be bothered with you, that you shouldn't take it personally? Just realize they just don't want to be bothered with you and leave them alone. And then you talk about humanitarian rights. You don't even know what it is to be a humanitarian. So you can't sit there and say you, especially, come on now, people. You take credit for shit you ain't doing. The troops are over there sacrificing, for our rights. No, they're not. They're over there fighting a war in somebody else's country. We ain't over there. You go over there, they'll kill you. So no, they ain't fighting for your rights. If anything, they're poking the bear. So don't sit there and say that they're over there fighting for your rights and your liberty over here. Your liberty over here is already under attack by your own government, your own judicial system. And you know this. You are self-identifying where all your flaws are, but at the same time, you don't know how to correct them. You're trying to pump in flesh, blood in Congress, but you can't do it fast enough because, see, not everybody is on the same page. Not every state is ruled or legislates the same. The rules are not the same. Their ideology is not the same. They don't have the same agenda. They're just trying to make it work as one. But when you start putting a microphone in front of people's face and they start telling you what they think, you better listen. Westboro Baptist Church said God sent that shooter into that club and killed those kids. I mean, predominantly white people. It wasn't a gay club. They were just country and western music lovers. Thousand Oaks. Them people left their state of residence to travel to California to protest. What, God sent them here to point that out, as they point out Bible scripture, which they obviously don't know anything about? Because, see, the devil can quote anything and not know what it means. When I say the devil, I'm talking about ignorance. Your ignorance. People put out postings all the time, not realizing how it's counter messaging anything that they've said prior. Because I'll sit there and read something that they'll post, and I say, oh, that's how you feel? And then they'll put something else up there, and then I'm like, didn't you just say this? And now you just said that? Are you bipolar? If you're going to be consistent, at least be consistent in that. I know when I look at my previous postings, it's all over the gamut. I know what it was. It was a process. It's something for you to look at and study. If you're going to call yourself studying me and trying to figure out where I'm coming from, understand the process. Understand how I signed off on things. How I went from just, channeling spirit to speaking from my own spirit to just speaking as who my Father says I am. It's a process, people. One that you have to master if you call yourself going to be able to ascend. You're not going to be able to quote anybody else before God and sit there and say, well, they said. He don't want to hear that. He wants to know who you are. Remember, all the people in the Bible of old who ascended talked to him direct. They weren't delivering messages from angels and spirits. They were delivering messages from God. Moses talked directly to God, the God of Abraham, which he did not grow up knowing, because his mother had set him adrift in that, that basket, and he was raised in the house of Pharaoh, set on a path to liberate his people. A story he did not even know was being penned for him that was going to play out. And it did. He ascended in his own life. Many prophets do. So if you're going to sit there and equate all your spiritual gifts to being something that Jesus had and mastered and talked about, you need to put it in proper context and stop acting like you're speaking as some agent of Christ, loved and accepted by him for what you do in fiendish and devilish works. Christ did not talk to everything. You do. Lisa Beachy said it best. She can't wait to talk to your angels and your guides, not knowing who the hell is guiding you. And by the time she opens up to them, it's too late. They have their foot in the door in your psyche. And you can't do anything to get rid of that shit. They don't recognize age. Remember? They ain't got a body. They will smoke you out of your own house. People who study demonology, they know you don't mess around with all kind of shit. They don't want to mess around with it. And I guess you think you just open the door and you can just shut it just as easily as you opened it. I beg to differ. You have to have some juju that you don't have. Because I'm still waiting to hear about which of you spiritual teachers of love and light done cast out one demon and not write books about how you gonna find a boyfriend or a girlfriend to get that job or tap into your intuition. And if you just surround yourself in a bubble of pink light, ain't nothing gonna come your way. Remember, the operative word you use is unconditionally loving. That means that anything and everything that is of the divine now has access to you. Because you say you are created in that image and it is loving of everything. That means everything is allowed to jump off in your life, whether you like it or not. Words have meaning. Experiences are what hammers the point home. What am I saying? Yeah, interesting dream. It was a car that was supposed to be like a Lamborghini, but it wasn't. It was like one of those old school Datsuns, you know, the kind that if you struck it the wrong way, you know, that it just blew up, crumpled and blew up, some shit like that. And the driver's side window, which was supposed to be double pane, was splintered. And it was at a point where spirit could just reach in and control your gear shift. You know, where you were going forwards, backwards, the speed you were traveling and more. That's what he showed me last night. I was like, that's some fucked up shit. Then he also showed me a friend of mine who's going through it. I'll touch upon it. Because he knows, well, in the dream, he was showing me that he knows that I talk a lot about God and whatnot. And he secretly has been saying to God he didn't understand why he's going through this process where he's hooked up to all these things, these mechanical things and whatnot. You know, he's not like, it's like he's not even really, he doesn't really feel human anymore. He feels like more machine than man. And God wanted me to say this to him. In this world in which we live, we occupy, we who are of the body of Christ are of the body of Christ. And when you think about the body has many facets. What you're going through, and this is not like, it's not common knowledge for people who basically study this stuff, spiritual, religious, and not. What ails you in your body is telling. Like for me, I knew that my body had seroconverted as far as my blood, you know, HIV, precursor to AIDS, but I never developed AIDS. But I am HIV positive, which means that I cannot donate blood. Because I'm not here to donate blood or to, I mean, you can't even harvest my organs. Seriously, I know that this is why this stuff is coursing through my veins, but it does not consume me. It doesn't really affect me. And doctors, well, my doctor, he admitted to me, he said he was testing me, trying to figure out why I wasn't getting sick. I'm not on any medication. I might get a cold every now and again, but not really. I mean, I drink some tea and get some rest and I'm fine. My body is still capable of healing itself. They're still trying to figure it out. Now, do I do it on my own? Mind over matter? I wouldn't say that. Well, if I feel something coming on, I start praying. Now, does that mean that it's going to work out to my satisfaction? Well, yeah, if I keep going. But the thing is, that's all I'm supposed to get in that moment, is to keep going. I mean, if I feel queasy, the queasiness will go away. I mean, spirit will come in, angels will come in, spirit will come in, you know, healers and whatnot. And I know they're working with me. And I'm just laying there, breathing, meditating. Sometimes I lay hands upon myself. I'm not asking anybody else to do anything. I'm asking him. So, however he wants to do it, that's how he does it. But I say this to say this to you. Your condition has to do with the organs that actually do a layer of cleansing within the body. And just like a lot of these people will teach you that pets are healing and whatnot, that's because pets, they actually are very sensitive and they do tap into your energy and they take that shit on. That's why sometimes pets they develop human diseases because they basically are trying to help you and they take that shit on. But they have no place to put it. And they're not meant to carry it for long periods of time. That's why their lifespan is what it is. But they are trying to keep you going. I've known many a pet who has come to a disease, that their owner was struggling with. Just happens. So, if you can see that in an animal, that you also identify as being a member of your family, understand what happens when you are a member of somebody's family and the toxins that you have taken in over the course of a lifetime. And when the body says, I can handle no more, your spirit can handle no more. Now, does that mean that you're ready to check out? Not necessarily. Does that mean that you cannot have a miraculous recovery? Yeah. It just depends on what's been penned for you. That's between you and the Almighty. Most people I know who are not long for the world know when it's time for them to go. And without much fanfare, they just leave. Others will sit there and tell you for like years. And my grandmother did it for years. She had, at one time, she had colon cancer or something. And the doctor had botched the operation. Didn't do her colostomy right. They couldn't fix it because he had botched it. He told her she was going to live 5 years at max. She lived 30. She outlived the doctor who gave her that diagnosis, that prognosis. He don't know shit. Just like my doctor didn't know shit. He told me I was going to be on high blood pressure medication. I ain't on high blood pressure. I ain't on any kind of medication. I don't even take aspirin. I told him I wasn't going to, that ain't happening to me. He said, how you know? I said, because I have it on good authority. My father had already sent me a dream. He said, I created you. I know how your plumbing works. That man don't know shit. If I'm in need of something, you'll tell me. Pick this up. Whether it's tea or, more veggies, whatever. You'll tell me, pick it up. Okay. Now you feel better. Now, I'm not saying this to be dismissive of what you're going through or anything like that. Any of you who are going through some shit. I'm just telling you that a lot of these people are telling you what ails you and telling you that there are herbal remedies and whatnot that you can take. And they might be right in that moment, but it just depends. And depends not on the fact that they are trying to profit by making a name for themselves because they know this stuff, but because that which guides you used them as an instrument to impact some information or impart some information to you that you needed to know in the moment. And then the rest is work you do with that, which did provide that information, not them, but that which you prayed to secretly, saying, I need to know what to do. But you don't go back to them. You don't rely on them. Otherwise, you end up like that young man who, he's a master herbalist. He's on trial here in L.A. Boy had diabetes. He was on insulin, type 1. He was on insulin. That man told him he could just use some herbs, because he had used herbs and he had cured himself of some kind of cancer. Now he's sitting there in court trying to lie his way out. Well, maybe he's telling some truth. There are a lot of people who had a hand in that, including the parents. Because they shouldn't have listened to that man. They did. But the judge said, yeah, there's a lot of people that fall here. But we only talking about this one man right here. What was his part? And they say he was practicing medicine without a license. And he said, no, I wasn't. Now see, who does he have to convince of that? The police who arrested him? The parents who want to see justice for the loss of their child? The juror? Or the jury who's sitting there weighing all the matters and facts of that case? That man tried to profit off his story in a way that he should not have profited off of it by sitting there discrediting other aspects of life that actually do have value and meaning in terms of science. That's why you sit there and say there's no global warming, certain people, because you discredit science. But you believe in religion, but you haven't mastered that either. So you're not authority on really anything other than how to be stupid for anybody who's actually paying attention to you. And I know some of you are really laughing because you're like, you really do call people stupid a lot. But at the same time, I get where you're coming from. If you get where I'm coming from, then you know what my father has been showing me. Because I did not like calling people stupid. I didn't like being stupid. That's where I worked hard trying not to be. And still I question myself all the time. And I ask him, what am I not seeing here? And he's patient enough with me to help me to understand. If you want to ascend, you have to start doing your work with him direct. I can only give you so much counsel. I can only tell you only so much. But he's got to take you the rest of the way. Because your story is with him. The rest of us, you might not ever see again because you choose not to. And we choose not to. See, we don't go to the same place when we don't want to go to the same place and follow the same rules. Because this shit here that's going on down here, you think I want to go someplace for all eternity and keep living like this? No. When he told me, as he was waking me up, and I heard him quite clearly say, prepare the cage. Real words, people. I said, you're locking me in with them. This world is on lockdown. You got to work through this shit. Nobody's going anywhere. Some of you will go into holding. I know that too, because you showed it to me. Waiting a turn to come back to finish your lessons. See, Spirit doesn't know what God had planned. But yet you think you can get information out of them that's going to get you out of this shit. No. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the vast majority of you are stuck high on how accurate and truthful Spirit is. You're going to crack. And that's just going to crack you. Because you're going to reach the point like Doreen did. Shit ain't going to have an effect on you anymore. Because you're going to realize you've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and more. Because you gravitated toward what was familiar. And what was familiar was not always right. Think about that. We'll pick up later. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You have a good day.